Did you know that a lack of mud and microbes in our lives might be one of the reasons why allergies and anxiety are skyrocketing today? The very microbes we've scrubbed away could be the old friends our immune system desperately needs. In this episode, I discuss the old friends hypothesis and 3 practical things that you can do to help build a resilient immune system today. Stay tuned. So what is the old friends hypothesis? Well, our ancestors lived in soil surrounded by plants and animals and their microbes. Over evolution, our immune system was shaped by these microbes, using them to build comfort zones that keep inflammation in check. The old friends hypothesis suggests that this coevolution shaped our immune regulation, and now our sterile, sanitized lifestyles are interrupting it. But wait, I hear you say, what is inflammation? Well, inflammation is essentially your body's natural alarm and repair system. So when something harmful happens to your body, like an infection or an injury, your immune system sends out chemical signals that call in white blood cells. Now these cells cause redness, heat, swelling, and sometimes pain. It's essentially your body's way of protecting itself and starting the healing process. So in simple terms, inflammation is your body turning on its internal fire alarm to fight off harm and repair damage. But if the fire alarm doesn't switch off properly, the body stays in a constant state of defence, and that's called chronic inflammation. And this can damage healthy cells and tissues and organs in your body, leading to various diseases. So while inflammation is really good for you to a certain point, too much inflammation can be super harmful for your body and your mind. So back to the old friends. Introduced by Professor Graham Rook, the old friends hypothesis suggests that ancient co-evolved microbes, like some soil bacteria and even some parasitic worms, signal our immune system to develop regulatory cells, also known as Tregs, that suppress excessive inflammation. Without these signals, the immune system can go on the attack, misfiring at harmless things and even our own tissues, giving rise to allergies and autoimmune diseases and potentially even mood disorders. So microbes are literally our oldest ancestors. Life on Earth began over 3 billion years ago, and for the last 2 billion years, microbes were life. Every plant, every animal, including every human alive today, is essentially standing on the shoulders of microbial giants. When mammals eventually appeared, we didn't come into a clean, empty stage. We were born into a microbial world, and from day one, our bodies co-evolved with these tiny life forms. Microbes shaped how we digest food, how we fight infection, and even how our brains developed. In fact, the immune system itself, the thing that decides whether something is safe or dangerous, was trained by microbes. Without them, it simply wouldn't work properly, or wouldn't have evolved. So think about that for a moment. Your immune system is like an amazing nightclub bouncer who went through years of training school run by microbes. They essentially taught it what to ignore and what to attack, and how to keep balance. And it doesn't just stop at the immune system. So microbes have influenced the way our gut talks to our brain. So you see my other video on the microbiota gut-brain axis, and even the way our metabolism processes energy, and the way our cells communicate with each other. So when we talk about the old friends hypothesis, it's all about remembering that we are microbial ecosystems ourselves essentially, so we are walking ecosystems. From the moment we're born to the moment we die, we've never existed apart from microbes, and our health depends on keeping that ancient relationship intact. Today, we live behind walls of concrete, clean surfaces, ultra-processed food, and antibiotics. We've traded mud and nature for sanitizers and bleach, and the immune system isn't coping very well. Industrialization has reduced contact with naturally diverse soil microbes, animals, and untreated water, reducing exposure to immunoregulatory organisms and leading to immune dysregulation. Clinical studies show children growing up in rural or farm environments, continually exposed to these microbes, generally have lower rates of allergies and asthma, etc. And their microbiomes are often very different from their urban counterparts. An example of a notable microbe from the soil, potentially be useful for human health, is Mycobacterium vaccae, a soil bacterium that has been shown to enhance resilience to stress via anti-inflammatory pathways in animal models, supporting the idea that old friends may also help buffer psychological stress. The old friends hypothesis rests on a fascinating detail of immunology. Some may assume that our immune system switches on and off, but in reality it actually needs constant training and fine-tuning. Old friends microbes, so some bacteria and even worms, and potentially other organisms, interact directly with our innate immune system, the body's first line of defence. And this part of the immune system is also called non-specific immunity. Now the microbes do this through molecules on their surfaces that bind to receptors called pattern recognition receptors, or PRRs. When these receptors sense microbial patterns, they trigger a low-level background immune response. Now it's not enough to cause disease, but it's just enough to keep the system calibrated. Now the thinking is that this ongoing microbial tinkering does two crucial things. Number one, it induces regulatory pathways, such as expanding regulatory T cells, or Tregs, which dampen excessive inflammation, as I mentioned earlier. And number two, it teaches the immune system to discriminate friend from foe. And this prevents overreactions to harmless things like pollen or dust or food proteins, and even our own body cells. Now when our immune system starts attacking our own cells, this is what manifests as an autoimmune disorder. So these old friends microbes are really important for regulating our innate immune system to prevent these kinds of diseases. Without that steady microbial input, the system drifts. It becomes overreactive, firing off inflammation where and when it shouldn't, which helps explain the rise in allergies, autoimmune disorders, and potentially inflammatory aspects of depression and anxiety, particularly in societies where naturally diverse microbial exposure is limited. So in a sense, the old friends microbes act as a constant personal trainer for immunity, not pushing us into full workouts, but making sure the muscles never atrophy. Why this matters for today's mental health? Well, this is important in the context of allergies, but it's probably also important for how we manage stress, mood, and generally mental health. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often linked to immune dysregulation, is increasingly found in depression, anxiety, and impaired stress responses. So when our immune system doesn't get old friend signals, it's thought that the stress response scale gets permanently stuck in the red zone. So everyday stress becomes overwhelming. 3 practical takeaways. Reconnect with nature. So simple actions like gardening, barefoot walks, tree climbing, or general time in green spaces and blue spaces may reintroduce beneficial microbes. So soil contact, even minimal, probably helps too. And remember, it's a multi-sensory experience, so spending time in nature may influence our microbiomes indirectly through various senses and stress regulation processes in the body. Avoid over-sterilising homes. Use lighter cleaning methods, keep pets and houseplants to replicate natural conditions, and skip antimicrobial soaps. Diverse microbial exposure, particularly in early life, boosts immune regulation, but you should make sure that you practice targeted hygiene still. So clean toilets, sinks, it probably sounds obvious, but food preparation areas, etc. And this is really vital for preventing diseases. So the issue is not hygiene, it's kind of shutting out all kinds of nature from our lives. That's where the danger lies. Eat fermented foods and diverse whole foods. See my other video on the microbiota gut-brain axis for more information on this. So fermented foods and diverse whole foods naturally harbour beneficial microbes and nutrients that support immune regulation without needing to take mystery supplements. Our immune system evolved in the company with friendly microbes in the soil, air and plants. The more sterile we become, the more likely it misfires. So the next time you feel that gut clench of stress, or if you're regularly sick, maybe the antidote is reconnecting with nature in all its guises, including those invisible friends in the environment. If you found this interesting or helpful, please do me a huge favour and like and subscribe to the channel, and also feel free to sign up to my free newsletter over at www.jakemrobinson.com. And remember, stay wild inside and out.